Hi folks, just a quick video here. My wife reminded me that I got my weekends mixed up, and this weekend I'll be busy, so next weekend we'll do the Q&A. But today I want to talk about my trip to the BGG Spring Con and talk about all the goodness that it was, because I did have a good time. First off, let me just tell you about the people who run this. Whoever they are the most magnificent, awesome people who have ever run a convention. I am convinced of that. Folks, I've been to a lot of Comic Cons. I've been to Gen Con twice, and I have never seen a convention that's more well organized, structured, managed, and all the above. The friendliness of the staff, the professionalism. I could go on and on about how great this con was, but it was the people behind it that made it great. There was about 1,200 people at this convention, not very many by anyone's standards. It took place in a little hotel. I say little, it wasn't that little, but it took place in a hotel, so it wasn't that big. But at the same time, it was so smooth. 1,200 people lining up, folks, to get their badges all at the same time. We had to wake up at 10 o'clock and make sure we were there. You know, wake up earlier if you wanted to. I got there an hour early, and there wasn't that big of a line. And we got through in no time, and everyone was just blowing through the line. So the line management is well managed. On top of that, we had an issue with our badges. I didn't with my badge, but my two little nephews, who I bought their badges the day they sold out. It looks like something happened in the system where it gave me last year's dates or last year's access code or approval code, but it said on the letter, you know, welcome to 2017 BGG Spring Con. And when they told me these tickets are for last year, I was like, what is going on? I didn't know what was going on. How could it be for 2016? And instead of, you know, questioning like, this seems suspicious. Why would you have last year's tickets? They saw the email. They saw, you know, my proof of purchase that said 2017. They just couldn't put it together. But instead of just sitting there, going back and forth, not knowing what to do, they just took action, made new badges, and got us through. Apologized for it, even though technically it wasn't their fault. Maybe a glitch in the system, who knows. But they were super nice. And watching them, when it got busy and they had a bunch of people in line, they had these little headsets they talked to each other through. And they were so calm and cool when the line was busy, when things were, you know, rustling all about. They remained, it was like, if you've ever been to Disney World, how these people are always happy to help you, and even though it's really bad right now, they still don't show it. That's exactly what the Board Game Geek crew did. They acted so professional. It's like Chick-fil-A, like a Chick-fil-A restaurant, this whole convention. I bet all those people work at Chick-fil-A maybe, and they just do this convention once a year or twice a year. I don't know, but they were just super duper nice, all of them. They made this experience, honestly, this is the best convention, best run convention I've ever been to, hands down, and one of the best conventions ever. I don't think, if I don't go to Gen Con again, I won't be upset, because BGG Con is really that good. Now, I'm going to talk about their library. Their library is unfathomable what they have in that library. Folks, you've seen me review The Queen's Gambit. If you want to play it, go to BGG Con. They have a copy. They'll let you rent it and play it. You want to play Star Wars Duels, another game that I recently reviewed. They have it. They have all the hard-to-find games. Space Crusade, which is basically Dark World, but with space marines and whatnot from back in the 90s. It's like a $300 game on eBay. You can get it. You can rent it out and play it if you want to. They had expensive games too. I saw a $600 game, tons of $300 games, and I saw one game that right now is going on eBay in thousands of dollars. Yeah, thousands plural. 2,000 to 3,000. I see one for $3,500 right here on eBay. And you can just rent it out and play it. It's incredible to me how kind they are. If this was my convention, I'd be like, nope, this is under glass. You may look at it or watch me play it on the other side of the glass. I don't want you breathing on this game. These people want nothing more than you to explore and experience games that usually you can't explore and experience. The library is huge. I have a video. At the end of this, I shot a video of the whole library. I'm hopefully going to put it in at the end of this so you can just pause periodically and look at the games that you want to see they had. And that's not even all the games they had. When I went through the library, they had tons of games there, but there's no telling how many games were rented out at that moment. So there's tons more games. Folks, just about any game you can imagine they had on that shelf. And another great thing about the staff is I can't remember which night it was. It was one of the nights. My little nephews wanted to play this game they'd heard about online. They'd been wanting to play it for a long time, but kept getting checked out, and we always missed it. Well, I said, when they went to bed, I said, I'm going to look and just going to stake out the library until it comes in. Well, then I heard it had come in. It had been in, like, it got checked in 32 minutes ago. And I was like, great, is it here? They said, yes. I went, awesome. And so I looked in the section. It wasn't there. I went back and said, hey, are you sure it's in? They said, yeah, if it's not there, it must be on the old. They had a new game shelf and an old game shelf. So I looked at the old game shelf. I said, oh, man, it's not there either. I said, and they said, well, someone must have misplaced it. And so I looked through all the shelves. Well, by that time, they were closing. It was midnight. They were shutting it down. And they said, do you have your game? I said, no, I can't find it. Well, then a few of the volunteers said, okay, what game is it? And then they went out and looked. Now, get this, folks. I don't know how long these people were, in the library. Sure, it could have been maybe a 4-hour shift or, 6 hours maybe at the most. But even if it's just 4 hours, you've been there since midnight. You want to go, either to go play games, or I know some of these people who ran the conference were there. One of the big guys who was running the conference, I think his name was Jeff, was there, and he was looking for the game for me. It's past midnight. I know he's got to get up early. I know all these people got to get up early. They should have said, hey, strange man, come back tomorrow and we'll find it. No, they were going out there looking through the shelves, apologizing to me that they couldn't find it, knew it had to be here somewhere, and kept looking. After about 15 minutes, I was like, guys, you know what? I'll just come back tomorrow. Let's just call this. Okay, that's fine. They were not going to tell me to leave, because that would be rude. I mean, how incredibly nice these people are. I could give a couple more examples. I won't. But every experience I had with their folks was just not even on a scale of 1 to 10, a 20. I mean, it was just incredible how good the service was. Now, the Bazaar, or the flea market is what it used to be called. It's called the Bazaar now. I went to that. Should you go to it? If you go to Gen Con, let me give you a few tips here. If you go to Gen Con, first off, the Bazaar, is it fun? Where you can buy, older games or newer games at a discounted price. Let me tell you, it's 50% great deals and 50% guys hoping that you're stupid enough to pay the full price. I saw guys trying to fool people. Everyone knows there's a reprint of different games coming out. They were trying to sell those games at a little better price because they know the reprint's coming out. And they don't want the first edition. They want the new edition. So they're trying to sell you the first edition at like a $20 or $10 discount, thinking, oh, hey, can't get this cheaper anywhere online. Yeah, dude, that's because the reprint's coming out and no one wants it. Everyone's going to get the new printing. And they think they're stupid. I even saw one guy, he had these games. They're worth $12 online. I've seen them a million times. I wanted to pick one up. And I was like, oh, there they are. I can get all three for $25 a piece. I was like, that's more than double what they are online. And someone actually told the guy, they said, yeah, but if you count shipping, I mean, it basically is you're paying more in shipping. No, I'd rather go with someone in shipping than you. You're a jerk. So there are some people, in fact, 50% of the people do not want to give you deals. They do not. They want to pawn off some games at top prices or at the regular price you can get it anywhere else. The other 50% of the people who were there, they want to make deals. There were some great deals on some games that I have. If I did not already have them, I almost bought a few just to give to some friends because the deals were that good. In fact, if I'd have known about this, oh gosh, in January, if this thing would have come out in January, I would have cleaned up on some of those games. They did have some really good deals on games I already had. And then there are other guys just saying, hey, if you don't like the price, make me an offer. Let's talk about it. So 50% of them are really good. 50% of them are just jokers, just trying to sell stuff that they're dreaming if they're going to sell it for that much. Will I go back to the Bazaar again? If I go to when I go to BGG Con again, because I'm definitely going to go back again. No, I'm going to skip that. I figure that even though 50% of them are really cool, I didn't see anything that I was looking for. And what I'm looking for is different than what the entire world is looking for as it goes to board games I'm seeing, because my taste is not largely different, but very much different from a lot of board gamers I see online and, I talk to. So I'll just go online and buy all my stuff. That's another thing. The vendors, no good. No good. Don't go here go to Gen Con if you want vendors. BGG Con is not about that. They do have a few vendors out. But the vendors only have their newer games. I was looking for some of their older games. It's funny, Queen Games was there, and I bought online. I bought like three 3 Queen games, maybe 4 Queen games. I don't know. I bought a lot of Queen game stuff. And I was hoping one of those games would be at their booth. None of them were. I was like, oh well. So I went ahead and just bought them online. The BGG Store, very disappointing too. They only have probably, I'm guessing, a third of what they have. Maybe they can't take it all. Maybe that's the reason. But they're little promos. I remember it was $52 or $54 worth of promos is what I wanted to buy. I mean, I even told them, I said, here's the promos I want. If y'all have them available, I'm buying them. I'm throwing down half a C-note, for these. And none of them were there. Not a single one of the promos that I was looking for. It's fine. I mean, I went online and it's $2 shipping, so who cares? But I was like, that's really weird. They only brought like a portion of it. Maybe they brought their top sellers. I don't know. But yeah, the vending wasn't that good. It's not bad. There's people playtesting stuff. They had the Spiel des Jahres games. A lot of people were excited about that. I'm not excited about any of those choices for Spiel des Jahres. I actually hate a few of those games. That's why my taste is very different from everyone else's. I'll give you an instance. Everyone loves Ice Cool. Boy, I hate that game. It is such a dumb game. And even my nephews, thank goodness. I thought they would love it, and I was teaching them the game and showing them it, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to play this. This looks dumb for kids or something. I was like, that's what I thought. I thought it was a dumb little kiddie game. I was like, dude, these dudes are like 12 and 13, and they even thumb their nose at it. So I'm glad they share some of the same taste as me. Not all, I found out. When we were driving back home, they told me what their favorites and maybe games that they enjoyed playing but probably wouldn't play again. Meaning, we know you like them, Uncle Matt, but we didn't really like them, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, that was really fun. Other tips I can give you. First off, bring a sweater or a jacket or something, a coat when you go. They keep it super, super cold in the gaming halls. And we had to go up to our room and turn on the heater. I mean, and play a few games upstairs just to thaw out. It would be so cold some days. And so I guess they have to, because there's like a lot of people down there and they want to make sure, the air is circulating. But they overcompensate. And I don't know if this is every year, but the year I went, it was cold. My little nephews were freezing, and it was something that I kind of wish we had brought a jacket or a coat and gone down there. So do that, whether you're going to the one in May or the one in November. Definitely do that, because I do think that to keep it a little cold in there. Table space. Will you find table space? Always. There wasn't a single time I didn't have any difficulty finding an open table. I found tons of open tables. With 1,200 people there, that's easier said than done, I think. And sometimes the main hall where they do a lot of their gaming was full, but they have tables on the side hall that were a lot of them were empty, or tables in another hall, 2 or 3 of the rooms, and there was always a place to play. We hardly had to move around that much. In fact, I liked us moving to different areas to explore more of the convention or gaming areas. And every place we played was great. The ambiance was great. We were either right in front of the library, which I thought was really cool. We could go in and out. The only thing, there was a lot of distraction of you were trying to see what games came in, And my little nephews were, like I said, they were looking for this one game for a couple of days, and they kept looking away from the board game and not paying attention to the rules. But that was fun. The main hall is, of course, fun because everything's going on there. Someone actually found me on someone else's Twitter in the background reading over rules for a game. They said, hey, I think that's Matt. And he showed me it on someone else's Twitter feed. It was an unintentional picture, but he just zoomed in. It was a picture of the big crowd, and he zoomed in. He's like, that's Matt right there. So yeah, I was in there that one day playing games. Loved it. But there's plenty of table space. Don't worry about that. There's plenty of games to play. Come up with a list, hit the newer and the hotter games first, because if you don't, they're going to be impossible to find later on. Thank goodness we did. We hit a lot of the hotter ones on the list. I didn't have any new. Avoid the newness, the new hotness. Avoid those games. They're not worth it. Sagrada, I think it's called. Man, that game's going to be yesterday's news by the end of the year. No one's going to care about that game. It's so what, it got rented out 1,000,000 times. I guarantee you next year there's going to be 3 copies and no one's going to want them. The game doesn't look that fun. I didn't really care about playing it. So other things, let me see that I can say. The hotel's good. going back and forth from the library. You get, I think you get, it's 4 hours on a new game, 6 or 8 hours on an old game. And after midnight, if you rent something, they'll let you keep it overnight. And they're really cool about that. There was a few games we kept a little bit longer than we should have. But as long as no one's looking for them, which they were just older games that no one really cared about. And my nephews and I took a little bit longer playing each game because I had to read the rules and go over them again and again to make sure I understood them, which I still played a few of those games wrong after looking through it and saying, oh, I played this wrong. We have to sit back and play it again. And because of that, I was late. I know for sure on one game was super late, getting checked back in. But they didn't say anything. As long as no one's looking for it, it's fine. But don't be a jerk and keep a game for until they find you. Make sure you turn it in and try new things. I cannot believe. I understand why you would want to play a game that's familiar with you or one that you maybe own, maybe. But I saw a lot of people playing games that they are already familiar with. In fact, when they're checking things out, I'd say, "Oh, hey, we just played that. This is a great game." They say, "Yeah, I own it." Then why are you renting it out? Play something new. I tried a few games that weren't on my list that I just saw on the board someone else was playing. I went, I may give that a try, and I loved it. In fact, I'm going to buy a couple of those games because they're so stinking good. So try a new game. Try more new games than playing old games. I know you want to play games you're familiar with because you have to read over rules, and believe me, we played, I want to say 99% of the game, actually 100% I think of the games I played were all new. Is that true? I think so. I don't think I played a single one of those games before. So I hadn't played a single one of the games I played, 100% new. And yeah, it sucked having to read the instructions. And yeah, it took a lot longer to play a game. But to be honest, I don't regret any of it. I got to play through tons of games I've never seen before or never thought I'd get a chance to play. So I really appreciated that. Finally, before I get the library footage rolling here, I don't think anyone on the BGG group will ever watch this video, but if they do, a big thank you to all of them. They did a bang-up, wonderful, wonderful job. I'm not going to the one in fall. I will definitely go probably to the one in spring if I can. I absolutely friggin' adore this convention and can't wait to go back again. All right, so that being said, let's get to the library and I will see you next time with another video.